A pleasant good night, one and all, good night indeed. We serve a great, big, wonderful God. It's yours truly, George Redeemed to the world. And my co-host for tonight is none other than Minister Love, Minister Fireball, flashing her hair of her shoulder. Hot and spicy like that, none other than Minister Mary Phillip. You don't know tonight it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be intriguing, informative. You don't know how we do it on Thursday night at Topic Live already. We deal with the issues. We talk about stuff. Tonight we'll be talking about commitment. And commitment is a broad scale. And we are going to be talking about it on the broad scale. As you interact with us, we will flow because guess what? We need to be committed to ourselves. We need to be committed to what we're doing. We need to be committed to our family. We need to be committed to our community, the development of our country. We need commitment in everything we do. And sorry to say, it's not all human beings understand the importance of being committed. Yes, of being committed. I want to say happy birthday to my beautiful daughter Esther Arboin. Yes, celebrating her birthday today. She's beautiful as ever. She take her looks from her daddy, nobody else. Yes, she's celebrating her 24th birthday today, and I'm giving God thanks for that. Yes, I don't talk to her yet for the day because she's so busy at work. But I know before the night is out, I will get to her. Yes, so we wanted to get your popcorn, get your friends, let everybody know that we are on tonight, and a very powerful topic, a very powerful topic. You might not believe it, but some of the loss that you suffered in life, it may just be because you don't understand the power of commitment. You see the level. So we're going to be dealing with that tonight. Minister Mary Phillip is more than qualified to talk about this. I am more than qualified to talk about this. So you're talking to two persons who understand what it is to be committed to whatever life flow our way. So it's going to be a wonderful night tonight, and you don't want to miss out. So please let everybody know that we are on and you are ready to go with us. I'm going to ask Minister Mary if she would just greet up the congregation and everyone tonight, and we will go right to the hot topic of the night, dealing with commitment. Yes. Over to you, Minister Philip.
Thank you, Pastor George. Good evening, everyone. Um, I hope that you are warm where you are. People often say Florida don't get cold, but that's a myth. Anyway, good evening. I'm glad to be with you this evening. I'm looking forward to the topic of commitment. This is probably a topic that many people, like Pastor George said, probably don't understand and are not willing to even want to engage in that because it's going to take selflessness to actually get engaged in being committed. It takes one's will to want to do something and commit themselves to it. So I'm looking forward to it, learning from it myself. And one could never know too much. So this is an opportunity. Don't deafen your ear and say, "Well, I know what that means." Well, you might know, and I'm not. I'm going to give you that, but there's always room for improvement. So this, I'll be looking forward to chatting with you later on.
Well said, and that's just the truth. We always know until we get in it, we realize that we needed to know some more. The views discussed and expressed by us is that of our own, and we speak from our compassion, our own. Everybody speak out of their own passion. So therefore, it's not that we're arguing or vexed. It's not that we're telling you it's a new religion, take it and run with it. but we will dive in this from our own lens, and not saying everything about our lens is right, but we try our best based on the scriptures to be as close as possible uh, to help you out of whichever struggle you're going through where commitment is needed. And we want to thank God for the opportunity. I want you to know that behind the scenes, we're working on some stuff coming January. Thursday night at Topic Live is really going to be hot and spicy. And we are going to be getting the flyers up right after each Thursday night. So we're just working on some things, testing some waters and all of that in the background. I must apologize for being a few minutes late. You know, we were by the restaurant doing some work, and you know, not mobile as you would like to be. You just have to take it as it comes. So I want to welcome everyone on the forum tonight. I can't see a name because I'm waiting on my help to reach me. Yes, yes, I run out, leave it at the shop. So I can't see much name or anything here. So in the first half, I guess Minister Philip, if she's seen anybody on, would have to shout them out until my help come. But you want to get everybody on tonight because we're going to be dealing with commitment, and it is very serious. We want to interact with us, have a say, ask your question. Don't just allow us to be there talking as though you're not a part of this discussion. It is a forum where we deal with the issues, and we want to hear from you as we discuss this matter on commitment. You know, we're going to be doing the theme song, and then we are going to be praying and go right ahead with tonight discussion. Old pirates, yes, they rabbi, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help me sing this song of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Yes, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing this song of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Yes, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing this song of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs. 'cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs. Yes, yes, yes. Mental slavery we need to free from. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people not committed, because they think of commitment as not important, not necessary. I want to tell you that the foundation of anybody's success is based on commitment. Father, we thank you for tonight, another Thursday night, a topic live as we get ready to discuss the power of being committed. I pray, God, that you speak to those persons who have been trying, mighty God, and just can't hit the target, just can't anchor their ship. I pray, Father, that they will recognize that commitment is one of the main ingredients that we need. God, if we are not committed, not even you can help us. You refuse to help us. And God, that is why you first ask us to commit to you, dear mighty God, before we can commit to anything else. We pray, Father, that your will be done. We give you the glory, the honor, and the praise in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Just a minute. Yes, man. Sorry about that. I'm trying to locate my help. Yes, 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 yes. So uh we're talking about commitment tonight. And a lot of people start stuff. A lot of people get into stuff. Uh, if we want to look at the firm foundation, if we want to look at the best blueprint, is when God decided that the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the earth, and God commit himself to make something beautiful out of darkness. A lot of people look at their darkness, their dark position, and don't think that nothing good can become of it, because dark is scary. Dark is nothing to talk about. In fact, dark is nothing. It is just the absence of light. And if God can step down into utter darkness and create this magnificent universe, Lord be to God, and out of darkness, after creating this magnificent universe, he decided to make man. He stayed true to his commitment until this day. So I'm going to ask Minister Mary. I know she probably queued up the meaning of commitment already. Yes, and she is going to elaborate. We want you to be interactive with us tonight. Ask your question and all of that. And we will go as we are engaged by your questions and you as a part of our discussion, right? So, Minister Philip, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now? All right, so first off, we want to, and I know you know, we don't want to insult your intelligence, but like I said, it's always good to sometimes when you hear a word, it really, the brain is such a powerful thing that it can always find room to improve the ability to understand something. So the word commitment means a pledge, the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause. That's one definition. Another definition said pledge or understanding and engagement or obligation. We have two words that stand out: dedication, obligation. And when the act, when you think of the word commitment, you're thinking about something that you have dedicated yourself to. We can look at many examples in the Bible. Let's talk about marriage. When two people come together before a minister, before a judge, or whatever form that you want, you could even think of commitment as making a covenant or a vow to engage in something that you have vowed to someone that you're going to do for them. Your commitment towards that person, that marriage, that relationship, it takes two people to get it work, because two people decide that I'm going until death do us part. Now we know that we don't live in a perfect world, and so life happens. But commitment is one of the things that you will want to think first before you commit yourself. When some say, I commit to do, and then when you said commit, you know that there are other people depending on you. I commit myself to send X and X of financial support for X and X of persons. Now, when you open your mouth, the thing about commitment is that you do not want to open your mouth about something you know you're not going to be committed to. That's very dangerous. It's very brokenhearted, because if God says something to you and you say, yes, Lord, I'm going to commit myself to doing X and X, the other persons that you have committed to is dependent on you. They're waiting on you to fulfill that promise. And when you don't do it, then it leaves room for the enemy to raise havoc in that person's life in terms of their relationship with God. Because if they pray and they go to the word and say, Lord, your word said X and X, you're going to do X and X, and God made a promise to them and God said yes to them, God is dependent on persons. He will not come down himself. He's dependent on persons that have made the commitment and said, I'm going to do that. The Lord knocked on your door and said, you know what, do that for X and X, because X and X have been praying and I promise them. If that commitment is not followed through, guess what? It's going to hurt parties. It's going to leave room for the enemy to come in to cause distrust in a person's life, their relationship with God, because one thing the enemy going to say, hey, you see, God is not faithful in keeping his end, where that is not true, but God is dependent on you and me who have made the commitment to do something and did not follow through with it. So making a commitment to do something and not following through is a very dangerous aspect.
It is, and what make it dangerous? Because God give us the ability to stay true to our commitment, right? And a lot of people go next door to their success, and because of lack of commitment, they miss it by an inch. Yeah, they were so close and just giving, and I believe not being committed is a sign of weakness. I believe that. In the sense where, for instance, when I started my Christian walk, 2007, I tell myself that I'm not going to backslide again. Don't care what happened. Because what caused me to backslide 97 is after they killed my sister and my brother. And I just tell God that day, I'm done with church. I want to seek revenge. And I walked away. Even when I walked away, many of my unsaved brethren would be saying to me, boy, this not fit you, but you're going back in your church. Because certain things I still couldn't do. I remember I went and paid for a tattoo, a panther claw across my right shoulder. And in the middle of the claw, I would have my daughter's name, Kitania and Esther, right? And I sat down, paid the money, sat down, ready to do this thing, and just hear the machine started to go, and the needles, and I just get up and tell them, and I soon come back, and never went back. Yeah, certain things I just couldn't have done. When I got saved, when I recommitted my life, 2007, I remember at the altar I was confused because according to the pastors and the Christians, when I backslide, they cause you to think that God done with you, God have no use for you, right? And you're no good to God anymore. So I started to live my life hellbound. Yeah, thanks. I started to live, my help is here. I started to live my life hellbound. Seriously living my life hellbound. Fearing nothing, afraid of nothing, because I don't have my room in hell. But when I went to the church this Sunday with ill intention for Glendon Powell, Reverend Glendon Powell, I felt the love of God in my heart, the presence of God. I could not believe it. I was confused to the point, even when I put on the gun and went to the altar and gave my life to God, church done, and I told him what I wanted to do. I was so confused that I asked him, I said, I need to ask you a question. Do you really believe that God will truly forgive me of all that I have done and accept me as his child again? And he said, yes. He said, I'm sure as night fall a day that God already forgive you. That is why you felt his presence anymore. I walked away from that altar and I made a commitment to God. I said, God comes what May, June, or July, I'm going to serve you. Now backslide again. When I made that commitment to God, here comes 2011. I was in Barbados, no, 2013. I was in Barbados, 2012. Yeah, ending in 2012, going into 2013. I was in Barbados, have a concert plan in St. Vincent with Kevin Dunswell, Atta Bawafo, and all of them, right? Have that concert plan. I was in Barbados. Janelia, my daughter Janelia, mother just brought her up to me in Barbados, and we were there. And out of the blue, my phone rang. When I get the call, it's my niece crying on the phone. Said, Daddy, they kill Uncle Danny. Uncle Danny gets shot up and dead, right? I remember I started to get angry. I said, God, why every time I decide to go all the way with you, something like this happens? Why every time I pledge to walk with you, something like this happens? That time my child mother don't hide my passport, done all of this, because you know, once I get a call like that, I can't resist it. I'm gonna, because everybody looking at me to defend, and everybody looking at me as the big bad bully. So therefore, she don't tell herself already that Journal is serious with him, God, and no, this happened. Journal is going to step out the path. So she hid my passport. I remember walk out to the house. I had a dog by the name of Ringo, Akita Chow. And when I walk up, it's like the dog felt the energy. He literally jumped the gate and come stand up over our open ball field with me. The dog just sit looking at me. And I look up in the sky and I say, God, why no? Why no? Things going good. I start preaching again where I say I would never do again. All right? I mean, people getting saved, encouraging a lot of people. But here comes now my commitment is tested. And I remember all God says to me, he asked me a question. How long was Lazarus in the grave? And I said, 4 days. I hear not more from God's mouth. Right? Baby mother down in my brain, you can't go and make them call you. You're on your way with God. None of we never see you like this. You have to put them a little. I know this, I mean, God will take care of it, and God will this, and God will that, and all that. I speak nothing to nobody for the weekend. Sunday morning, get up, getting ready to go to church. I heard a voice of God say, call your niece. And I refused to call. And before I stepped through the door, they called me to ask me to send somebody with them down to the hospital because they cannot understand what happened. I said, what do you mean you can't understand? They get a call to say Danny's not dead. So I said, what do you mean by he's not dead? When they went to about say autopsy or whatever to do, they found his heart beating. They pull about 8 gunshots out of his stomach. They cannot fathom how comes that man not dead? How come that man is still alive? I know it is a miracle. Yeah, because you know what? God said that my commitment was tested and tried. Because if I didn't really want to go, she couldn't hide my passport. If I had to pull her to pieces and get my passport, I would have done it. Yeah. But when we commit to something, it is going to be tested. And a lot of people need to know that. The minute we speak forth that, yes, we are committed to do this task, it is going to come up on that test. Your commitment must face testing. If it don't face testing, it is not a true commitment. Christ committed to come to earth to die for our sin. And it was tested. It was tested. Yeah. And I'm just saying to us that many of us need to understand what true commitment is. Under the fire, with tears, with agony, we need to stick it out. And if we should start look at commitment from the trunk to the branches, the trunk, first we have to think about family. Why a lot of children are fatherless today? Why a lot of children are motherless today? Because lack of commitment.
Yep.
A man decide that he's not going to mind him child because him and the mother and then no more. She giving it up to somebody else, so make somebody else take the responsibility. Yes, right? Let somebody else take the responsibility. And tonight on Thursday night at Topic Live, we need family to gather around your handset, your computer, or whatever you're listening to us on for the next few minutes, because we are going to touch some vital part. Some important part is commitment. Why our families are disoriented today? Because mommy and I can have our disagreement, but our commitment is to raise this child the way this child is supposed to be raised, to take care of this child. Because mommy alone didn't get this child. She didn't thought of pregnancy like Mary Baker Eddy believed and just get pregnant. She and I did something. What we did, whether you want to call it worship or prayer, or whatever it is, we did something to bring this innocent child on planet Earth. So our commitment now is not just about us. It is about this child.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want this child to come up and say it's fatherless or motherless? The way we came up? Are we going to stick to the commitment? I will pass mommy and her boyfriend and tell her, big up on herself, go and do nothing, and send my child through the gate, make me and my child to take a drive, and me and my child go for a weekend. Lack of commitment. People think to break commitment the minute the joy out of it on their account is gone. They tend to just let go. And they started to see child not as a necessity to be taken care of. It's predicated on how they feel and what they think. So families right now is going through disarray because of lack of commitment between parents. We can have our disagreement, but our commitment to keep our family alive, to keep our children the way they're supposed to be kept, to bring them up the right way, to nurture them the right way. Our differences is our differences, but our commitment is to the family and the child or the children. Yeah, because children not only live what they are told, they live what they see. They learn from what they see around them also. So commitment is one of the stress. And what can cause commitment to be broken? Hurt, disappointment, regrets, lack of support, ostracized, competitions, talked down to, abuse. All of these things can cause one to break their commitment because they're not going to see it as a test coming to their commitment. But a lot of people just give in because of the things that flow to them. One of the things that we need, another ingredients we need to stay true to our commitment is being resilient, being have a sense of tenacity that to keep going. And so though I hurt, I love Psalm 15, and there's a verse in Psalm 15 that I live dearly. Each time my commitment is tested, this verse came to my mind. David said in Psalm 15, after Acts 2 question in verse 1, Lord, who shall abide in thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in thy holy hill? God gave him a list. He that walketh upright, worketh righteousness, speak the truth in his heart, but biteth not with his tongue, taking up not a reproach against the innocent. Don't put out your money to usury. He that sweareth to his own hurt and change not. So even when it's killing me, it's working against me because that commitment is like I said to Minister Philip, I'm going to buy you a car for your birthday. And 3 months before her birthday, I heard that something was said, or she and I fall out. And because we fall out, I throw my commitment through the window. Psalm 15 is saying, fall out or not fall out, hurt or not hurt. You committed to do this, and you're expected to do it. Who shall abide in thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in thy holy hill? One of the result, one of the requirement is that you swear to your own earth and stick it through. I pledge to love you. So if I do something to hurt you, it's not to take your love and buckle it up and throw it aside. But you're supposed to, according to the scripture, we're supposed to still love because we already pledged to love. So commitment is one of the things that's stopping a lot of people from being prosperous, from being blessed, from enjoying the fullness of life that we ought to be enjoying. It's robbing us. It's robbing us.
Absolutely. You know, as you were talking, I realized that commitment is something that should be modeled. One, that doesn't mean because you grow up and you're an adult that you know what is the value and what it takes to commit to something. But persons are so used to making promises and not keeping them, it becomes a way of life. And they don't realize that they're hurting other people when they open their mouth to say, well, I'm going to do X and X. And then when the time comes for them to prove what they've said they're going to do, they can't stand because they don't have the resiliency. They don't have the tenacity. They do not have what it takes to be committed to anything. Like a man that has relationship with three, four, 5 women at a time. He can't commit. He might meet somebody, a woman that he really loves, but he has issue with committed because he doesn't know what that looks like. You see? And so it's something that has to be learned, something that has to be, you can retrain. And the thing that I love about God is that if you have not grown up in a home or a family that know how commitment is done, there are so many other ways that you can learn commitment. Number one, through the word of God, because Jesus himself committed himself on the cross. The scripture said he could have called 10,000 angels.
Yeah.
He could have called to rescue him because he didn't do anything. He was sinless. But he made a commitment to the Father that, Father, I'm going down there to planet Earth and I'm going to die for these people so that these people will have a place of eternal life. Now, what if was Jesus was walking through this whole thing, because it wasn't a bed of roses, that he decided that when he was on the cross, he decided, you know what? No, I can't do this. It's too painful. It's too much. I cannot go any further. What would have happened to you and me as believers?
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
It's reality. And that's a model for us to follow. Because look what he'd been through and didn't have to do it. He could have changed his mind. He could have changed it. Yeah. But to
Yeah.
take it. People don't want to go through nothing anymore with nobody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're a friend until you do something. I'm in love with you until you don't do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just break off and go on as though it's so easy to get by. I'm like, whoa, what kind of human being we be? And expect to have success. Because you see, it's easy to walk away from one thing. You're gonna end up walk away from everything you attach yourself to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first leg of commitment is broken. It encourages you to break the second. It encourages you to break the third. It encourages you. One of my little daughter, Patrice, asked me a question tonight. She was talking to a gentleman, and she came by the shop and she was like, "Daddy, can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Go ahead." She said, "I was talking to a man," and I said, "What kind of man that?" And she started to tell me what he was saying, that he can't keep one woman. Same thing you just said, right? And she's asking what would cause a man to get to that place where he said can't keep one woman. And I give her a lot of instances that would cause a man to do that. And one of them is like a commitment. You see what I'm saying? And some people don't have patience too, because commitment calls for patience. Yeah, because sometimes you're working on something, and because you lack patience, you don't see through, right? It's also a curse wrapped up in that, because you have some people they don't know how to finish.
Right.
It's a curse. They
Mm-hmm.
start 1,020,000 things
Yeah.
and
Too many,
cannot stick it out, cannot be committed to it.
too
It's a
many irons
serious
in the
curse.
fire.
And
Yeah.
and the devil is so suckled in it
Mm-hmm.
that the devil would plant himself in your family line from your great great
Yeah.
great great
Oh yeah.
great great generation
Yeah.
come down to you. And if
Yeah.
him see that all of them escape it and you go escape it, he's going to tarry there and wait on your children. And if your children escape it, he's going to tarry there and wait on your children,
Mm-hmm.
because they are territorial demons
Yeah. Yeah.
that decide that success will not be named among
Exactly.
you. So
Yeah.
therefore, everything you start, you just find yourself changing one thing to next, and nothing you put your hand to ever come to fruition, because there is a curse that don't cause you to commit. And if you just commit to something, you'd
Yeah.
surprised to see where it goes from there. So some people need to check it. Is it
Yeah.
a curse or it's just a bad habit?
You know, that is such a good point, Pastor, that I'd like you to elaborate on it a little bit more, because sometimes people want to be committed, but because you're dealing with that territorial spirit, you're dealing with that spirit that's come from one generation to the next, that you find you become a slave of this thing. One part of you want to be committed, another part of you is fighting a spirit. And most people don't know or understand that it is a spirit. It's something that need to be cast out, so that it will be broken off of them, because something that is attached to them like a leash. And that's why they cannot commit to any kind of relationship. They cannot commit to jobs. Some people have 11 jobs over 6 months. They can't commit to anything. So you see, it becomes a track record for that individual. And it's something for persons to really say, wait a minute, what's going on here? Is this natural, or am I dealing with something that beyond what I could understand? So you are perfectly right. It can be a spirit that is following different people from being committed.
The Bible told us of a man uh, that was living among the tomb. This was a normal man. This was a family man.
Mm-hmm.
This was a man that, in the heart of his heart, wanted to be committed to his family. But the spirit take him over.
Yeah.
And the first thing that demon sought to do was to move him from his commitment.
Mm-hmm.
The trunk of his commitment, the root of his commitment, his family.
Mm-hmm.
Took him away from his family. Now the commitment to provide is broken.
Yes.
The commitment to protect is broken. The
Mm-hmm.
commitment to feed is broken. The commitment to defend is broken. The commitment to lead is broken. The commitment for all that he's supposed to be there at his home to do as the leader of the house, the devil in one blow break all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And bring him to a cemetery. A cemetery, you can't be committed to nothing.
Mm-mm.
Because there's nothing about a cemetery. It is a place of dormants.
Yeah.
No progress, no growth, nothing to elevate you.
Right.
Comes from the cemetery. That's why it is called the cemetery, the place you bury the dead. Yeah, that's where it stopped. They brought him there and robbed that man for years. People call him worthless. People call him all this. People call him all sorts of that. They ridicule his children and his wife and all kind of stuff. But when Jesus came, that's when they realized it was a spirit
Mm-hmm.
that took the man from his commitment.
Right.
Some people that leave commitment with you is not because they are not committed. They are controlled by a spirit. That spirit that break commitment and cause them to walk away. Because I'm going to show you it's a spirit. They would, if it was them, they would never be committed in it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
They would never.
Yeah.
They would never start the journey in the first place. It's a spirit. So there are some demons that don't want you to progress. They don't want you to commit to see something through. That's why I have some families start build a house and can't stop. Can't do. You have some people borrow money and buy land and can't pay it back. They do all kind of things with the money and don't see paying back their loan as something. Say, you know what? They lose the land, they lose the house, they lose everything. No commitment. You have some people that start a business and just cannot follow through. And most of the time we blame them, but it's not them. If it was them, they wouldn't have started in the first place. It's a spirit. So there's a serious spirit that going around and causing people to break commitment. Commitment in their marriage, commitment to their family, commitment to their job, commitment to their own progress. They have greatness locked up inside of them, wealth locked up inside of them, and they cannot commit to nothing to see it through. And they just live hand to mouth till they die.
Right. You know, another thing with commitment is that a lot of time people stretch themselves too thin. And so they might commit to this, they commit to that, and they want to live up to everybody else's expectation. And so when okay, I'm committed to my husband, but I'm also committed to my family. Right. You know, and then I'm committed to my friends and I'm committed to, and so it brings confusion because what I'm committed to my husband until death do us part and to serve him and honor him. Then I have my family that is saying something else in my ear that it caused my commitment towards my husband to be broken because I'm not steadfast, I'm not focused on what my commitment mean. And it's like a covenant. Commitment is like a covenant that you have made a covenant with an individual and you're going to keep that thing no matter what. Minister Holland said, commitment is like we took out a loan from a bank and we have that agreement to pay back the money within so many months. So we try our best to live up to our words to the bank. It is like an agreement. It is like you didn't write down on the dotted line, but you repeat it out of your mouth. You spoke it out of your mouth. Yes, I'm going to be committed. Yes, I'm going to do X and X. And so it's hard for people to make these promises and not keep them because it hurt other people. Other people's lives is lying in the way when we don't follow through. Like take, for instance, when I was asked to be part of Jumpstart, I said yes. And anytime you don't see me on here, it's because Pastor George know that I have some other engagement. There's something I need to do. If you make a commitment to somebody and you cannot follow through, you need to say something. Just like Minister Harlan said about taking a loan in the bank and the bank keep calling you. You need to tell the bank, you say, you know what? I'm going through some kind of crisis right now. This is what's going on with me. In that way, you have a free range of conversation, communication going back and forth between you and whoever it is you make that agreement with. It is not good for you to be leaving that person standing there and you're not fulfilling your part of the commitment.
It is perfectly right. When Minister Gordon, when managing director, says to me that tonight's topic is going to be about commitment, I said yes to her, and not realizing that days after, it would play it out in living color before my eyes, because I am a part of a deal, and things went bad with it. So I sat in a meeting. I was called in a meeting last week, and they were telling me, that if this is not fixed, it can't, you can choose to leave it as it is, but if it is left as it is, then the premium, the primary person is going to be smudged for life if they turn up to any institution to borrow a loan or to do any business that they are not going to, because it is going to go against their credit. Now, I turned to them immediately. I said, we need to fix it because that person is not like that, right? Mm-hmm. And how can we fix it? We sat there in the meeting last week and we brainstormed it. And they said, well, then if you can take it over, right? Because according to the track record, it would show probably neglect towards the commitment or whatever it is. And it says not neglect, it's just circumstances. It's really, I'm the person up front, but at the time that person had to go up front. So they thought it was some hanky-panky thing that I was trying to do, because they cannot understand, oh no, I'm going to trust myself in it to be committed when the primary person, because I tell them straight, that person is not like that. Mm-hmm. It's not like that, right? And I would be a hypocrite to throw the person under the bus and to no, not because I'm eligible to do something on my own, right? But it would be unreasonable, and that is not my practice as a Christian, right? So after we had another meeting earlier, and while I sat there, the woman looked at me and she said, you know what? They have a lot of things talking about men, but there are some good men that's still alive in the world today. I felt a sense of pride when she said it, right? Mm-hmm. I felt a sense of pride when she said it. But when we commit to something, we would stick it out no matter what. And the truth that caused us to be committed must be the forefront of every decision we made, right? A lot of people forfeit deals that other people and them involved in and leave people to suffer the consequences. And they think that when they go on their own, it's not going to benefit you. These things follow you. They're coming like the wind. They just turn up and you don't even see it, right? And if more people stay true and committed to whatever they attach themselves to, they will see more success. They will see far more success, right? I mean, it is said that a business, any new business you start, it takes at least 3 years for you to see a profit. If you are not committed, you are going to give up in the first year. Obvious. Because when you look and see what you're spending out, I have an accountant right now that put all my books together because I'm dealing with all the government office to get everything straight. So all my taxes, everything up to date, paying for the staff, paying for everything, it's up to date. When that accountant tell me how much money me I spend a month. Minister Mary, me almost want to reverse the months and just keep that money to myself.
Yes.
I said to her, are you serious? I'm spending so much thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And a business that me now make so much thousands of dollars. But guess what? It called for commitment.
Right.
Because if I lost the next 2-3 years, it's going to pay me back. It's going to come back because it called for commitment. And commitment must be shown.
Yeah.
Must be shown in every single thing that we do. Commitment must be shown, and it is going to be tested. That is why it's a marriage. Oh my God, I'm sorry for people who don't understand principalities and powers, because the devil make it a point and duty that you could be living 50 years with a woman and a man and a marriage, you live in peace. Everything good. You don't fuss, you don't fight. But the minute you step into the realm of marriage, you start saying, I better be stay single. I better be never married. Because whatever. Because marriage is a serious commitment and the devil know it. Because it is honorable. So he's going to do everything to disrupt it. He's going to do everything to mess it up. And if a husband and a wife not true to their commitment, they can spoil a great thing. They can spoil what could have been. They can spoil the success for themselves. They can spoil it for their children. They can spoil it for their grandchildren because of lack of commitment. Sometimes that demon that comes between the marriage to break the bond of commitment knows further down the line that if these two people go down the road in agreement, what they're going to reap, the success they're going to have, the place they're going to put their family. So the devil do everything to disrupt that unity and break the bond of commitment.
Yeah. You know, when you think about commitment, you know that is the core part of our Christian walk, is the core value that each believer should attain to be. Because commitment in our Christian walk, commitment to our friends, commitment to education, commitment to increasing your value, commitment to, like you said, a business that you just start. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes dedication, it takes all these things. And so persons with a lack of commitment is missing out on a valuable life that God wants them to have.
Missing out for number one is a reason why Jesus says a person cannot serve two masters at the same time. The serve there is really talking about commitment. A person cannot be committed to two masters at the same time. You're going to love one and hate one. You're going to work more for one and neglect the next. That is why we have to be conscious in our commitment. Before I make a commitment to anything, I normally weigh the pros and the cons.
There you go.
Because I'm the type of guy, my yes is my yes. My no is my no. I'm the type of guy that once I'm in, I'm in. And the truth is, commitment does not label good or bad. We have to detect that, what we commit to. Because we can commit to some bad things. We can commit to some terrible things.
Yes.
We can be committed to things that will destroy our life, destroy our soul, destroy our family, destroy everything. We can commit to some stuff that, and we need to understand the volume of commitment, because I can just decide that I commit not to do better. I commit not to change my ways. I commit not to work on this. I commit not to this. I commit to hold my composure. I commit to hold my corner. I commit to all of this. And if we commit to any of those things, and it takes unity to achieve, you're not going to achieve. And some people undermine themselves because of what they commit to. And most of the time, they commit to the wrong thing. They commit to the wrong thing. Right? So it's like A man see a woman and like her, approach her, promise her marriage and everything, and she's there planning her wedding, only to find out that she don't really have a wedding because the man just said that he's committed, but he's never committed. Yeah. When time to set wedding date and all of that, if start come up with problem and gone. Yeah. I was divorced for 20 years. 20 years I was divorced for. I'm not going to throw my ex-wife under the bus. We were two young people. I was 21. She was going on 19. Yeah. Nobody taught us what marriage would have been or what it would be like. Yeah. So we both made our mistakes. Yeah. And I decided that I cannot deal with it. Right. And it reached a place where we divorced. I tell myself, say, I don't think we're going to ever marry again. Watch my children grow. Live life. Preach the gospel. But along came an Antiguan. And here goes. I made a commitment. I stick the commitment through. Yeah? No matter what odds came up against us, no matter what was happening, I said, you know what? I asked your hand in marriage. I'm going to see it through. Don't care what happened in the world. Yeah? It is not going to be said that, you know what, I go around fooling up nobody and promise nobody to marry them and don't marry them. You have to understand and be conscious of your commitment. If you, look how many persons right now because of COVID. Because of COVID, look how many persons without a job. A woman that I sat in a meeting with today, before I left, I mean, she was crying, using napkins on her desk because she said for 10 months, she don't know what it is to work because of COVID. And she talked to God and bam, here comes out of the blues. She get a job. And she promised God that she's going to stay true and committed because he delivers with tears. Right?
Yeah.
She gets to the success of her commitment. Many people do not spend the time to see the seed grow. It's like you plant a seed.
Correct.
And you dig it up every day to see if it'll grow. No, you have to plant it. And you have to have patience. Commit to water it and see. You know, many persons, we talk this all the time, walking around with a wealth locked up inside of them, but because they can't commit to themselves, they commit to everybody else. They commit to their boss. They commit to everybody else. But when it comes to the personal thing, they don't have the principle. They don't have no value of commitment to the personal thing. So therefore, they cannot achieve what they are working to give the boss, to put in the boss pocket. They could be working to put in their own pocket, but they just cannot come. As long as it has to do with them, their time and their business, they have no commitment towards it.
Yeah.
And
Jesus said something about that in the book of Luke, chapter 14. And if you allow me to read a couple of verses, about 4, and he said, and there went great multitude with him, and he turned and said unto them, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciples. He continued to speak. He said, and whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciples. We're talking about commitment, right? Verse 28 is the kicker. For which of you intending to build a tower, sit not down first and counted the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it. These are Jesus's words.
And if you should check people's life today, those words, you can find them in the in-between of their life. Yeah. You can't find it. It's like, I don't know, society sometimes help us to break our commitment so easily,
Yeah.
you know, because we think everything is a quick fix. Everything must happen right here and now. Friendship don't know the true value of friendship anymore. Your grandmother and my grandfather, they could talk about being committed as friends, but nowadays, a friend with you, and because you're the one thing that I don't like, I mark you off for life. I throw you aside. I reject you. I don't care about what we could achieve together if we just get past that little lump there. I mean, the world again is there for us. We would trade all of that because of lack of commitment. We would trade all of that. Yeah. Now, if we committed, as Jesus said, are we not willing to hate with mother, with father, with wife, with sister, the husband, the brother, the boss, in going on to that chapter? And he said, whosoever give up all these things for his sake, he will give them 100-fold in this life before they're dead. So commitment do multiplies.
It does.
Commitment grow and bear fruits. Yeah. We really want to talk to some jumpstart, to some Thursday night topic live persons today. What caused a relationship to be on the rock? Is it lack of commitment? Is it that you make a commitment to something negative that cannot feed the relationship? Is your commitment lies somewhere else than your relationship? It's sad to see two people that can move mountains, two people that can achieve leaps and bounds, but because of lack of commitment and breaking of commitment and fail to commit to the right thing, people just trade that without even knowing that the journey that you're about to embark on, you can cut that journey short if you just stick true and commitment to what you started. The race is not for the swift. The battle is not for the strong, it's for the endurers. Endurers are committing people, are people that stick to commitment. I commit to finish this race, and I'm going to finish it all when everybody there ahead of me.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish it. And it's because I'm committed. I realize after the third corner of the road, one of them dropped down a dead for breath, a dead for liquor water. Some of them chicken out. Some of them broke them ankle. Some of them bruise up their toes in their boots so they can't do it. If I was not committed and decide to continue my liquor race, I wouldn't realize that they popped down up the road. I wouldn't realize that victory is now in my possession. In my view, it's commitment that caused us to be where we are. Usain Bolt could not be Usain Bolt if he's not committed. He wasn't committed. But Marley couldn't be Bob Marley if he wasn't committed. Donald Trump couldn't be Donald Trump if he wasn't committed. Barack Obama couldn't be Barack Obama if he's not committed. Every successful man and woman on planet Earth, every loving, adorable marriage, every family that stay. You look what God says. The family that pray together stay together. You have to be committed to pray together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He continued to say, he said, for which of you intending to build a tower? Oh, I read that. Now in verse 20, they said, less happily after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold, it began to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish.
But that is what happening even in today's world.
Yeah.
That is why people talk about people family. That is why people talk about them starting business and not pulling through. That is why people talk to them going married and they're willing to pay the cost that marriage brings. They went and gone in child making and not willing to pay the cost what child making brings. I am committed to this thing. I'm committed to this thing. I mean, I I have to be committed so much to have patience with baby Isaac, though he's 3-year-old and bathing like he's 13. Yes, I have to be committed to know that when it's time to feed him, I can't have nothing else rush to do. I have to sit and feed him through, because if I leave it up to him seeing playing more important than his meal. And I have to be so committed to this that I know that his meal is more important than playing, because if he don't get the protein and if he don't have the energy, he's not gonna have what it takes to play. So I have to stick to these things. We need to understand that whatever we thrust ourselves into, it calls for commitment, and we have to see through. Or when it is throwing us some hard blows, we have to see it through, and we cannot chicken out on it. We cannot back out on it, because when we back out, people go. You can imagine if me decide, say, no, I'm gonna walk out to Isaac and Rachel life. Some people are dying for hear that, you know. We say, watch him, run, go married, and go like say, bam, 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 bam. You know much people, if Rachel should decide to go to my marriage, out of the marriage, right? You know much people say, she run, go take up marriage, and both she married to pastor, and can't see it through. Not that we care what people think, but as you just read, Jesus says, when people see people who does these things, they mock them, they jeer them.
Yeah.
Because you know what? They don't see the commitment.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see none.
Yeah.
Right? When we were getting married, I talked to my children. And I tell them straight, my commitment to you as your father is second to none. My commitment to my wife as a husband is second to none. That is what Daddy's trying to say. You are number one in your column, and she's number one in our column. Don't expect me to break commitment to my children, and my children must expect me to break commitment to my family.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
I lay it out straight on the table. So my wife don't have baby mama drama and stepchildren drama. She don't have that, because you put it on the table, and they say me living true to my commitment. I'm saying to somebody out there tonight, where your commitment lies. Could it that your commitment is out of place? That what causing the turbulence that you're facing right now in your life?
Mm.
Could it be that your commitment is not true also? Because some people have false commitment.
Because
and false commitment can bring former happiness. No, it not gonna bring
the cost. The cost wasn't counted.
Correct.
Yeah, they didn't follow through. Listen to a couple other verses that will kick right on in. Verse 31, it said, "Are what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulted whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000.
Wow.
This is powerful. It said, or else while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage and desireth conditions of peace. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple." So what Jesus is saying here is that you have to make up in your mind whether you're going to follow. Don't start something and not finish it.
Correct.
Simple.
It's reality. You see, I like the part of the verse that says you sit down first and weigh the cost.
Yeah.
What he's trying to tell you, that commitment is premeditated.
Absolutely. Yes.
There is no room to say you commit to something that you never know what you commit to. Mm-hmm. It's premeditated. A young man killed a girl here a few weeks ago. Stab her and slash her throat. And witness says that there was an argument between the both of them. And it was mentioned that you deserve to die. Went away and come back, and one end up dead. Now, in any court of law, that is called premeditated.
Absolutely, yes.
Because you count the cost first. The minute you say you're going to die or you deserve to die, you think that it's going to be prison if you get caught. You think that, you know, you're leaving family to suffer and mourn. You think about all of that. So when Jesus in the Bible that you just read, talk about counting the cost, it's simply saying, don't give me the excuse that you never know that this is what is what's going to happen. You count the cost. You count the cost before you step in it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a thought process that said, once I commit to this, what if? What is required of me?
Right.
You get the job, the advertisement went out, need somebody to hire. You went in, you do an interview. The interview process is you counting the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get a job description. You're still counting the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're given a contract. So you cannot sign the contract and say you never know where you signed, because one, you have to make an application, premeditated. Two, you went to an interview, premeditated. Three, you were given a job description, premeditated. Four, you're given a contract, premeditated. So you sign that knowing all that is required of you.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no way you should come out saying that you forfeited because you didn't know what it entails. Premeditated. You count the cost first. Some people just don't have tenacity.
Mm-hmm.
And tenacity is one of the ingredients that cause commitment to be matured. You have to learn to stick it out.
And there's a lot of yes people. People just say yes to everything.
We use yes loosely. We use it.
And they pull themselves too thin. And
Correct.
persons probably they do want to commit, but they do not have the wisdom enough to say, you know what? I don't have what it takes to stretch myself that thin, to please
Correct.
everyone, to be committed to this one and commit to that one. You're going to run yourself ragged. You have to be decisive. You got to decide what you're going to be committed to and give it your 100. Because in commitment, you have to give it your 100. You can't give it 50, otherwise it wouldn't be commitment.
And you cannot commit and just sit down. You have to work your commitment. That's the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work the commitment. A gentleman came by the restaurant today since evening, and he shook my hand. And I said to him, why you shake my hand? And he said, let me tell you something. I have never bucked up another man with the commitment and the tenacity that you display. He said, really, me know your business. Me know you and the money you have. But you believe so much in this restaurant that you refuse to sit down and wait for better to come. You're working it to better.
Yeah.
I mean, we locked up and we're ready to go. And he was just stand up talking to me. And he said, I'm so encouraged by this, because he come and see a piece out on in the back. He come and see, painting and all of that. And it was like, it's like, I know you're not making the money that you think you can make right now, especially for COVID. But to see you still putting in the work, it shows that you believe in what you're doing. And I said to him, I have to be committed to this.
Yeah. Commitment equals success.
Correct. Ton of people looking to see fail. I don't like to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My family depending on this. Believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's going to happen at the end of another 2 years from that restaurant, if I break commitment now, not going to reach it. I'm not going to get there.
Right.
So some people just need to go back and revisit what they walk away from. Because they might just walk away from something that they think was not working out for them, when all life was trying to tell them that you need to be truly committed to this to reap the success of it.
Jesus had when let's talk about the five, the ones he gave, the 5, the 10, and the 1 talent. Right, Jesus was looking for commitment in these men that he'd given these talent. He gave them these valuables in order for them to invest, in order for them to commit their life to making this work. And we look at that one guy that took what Jesus gave him and decided that we could say that he had no level of commitment at all, because
None.
he was looking at the number that he had, thinking that there's not much that he can do with this here. What am I going to do this one? What am I going to do with this relationship? What am I going to do? You know, whatever it is that you're dealing with, you don't have confidence within yourself that you could make something happen. And usually God will give us just a seed of something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're perfectly. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
You're perfectly right. That man that get the 1 talent, he was in a better position than the man with the 5 and the man with the 10. Because their level of thinking and investment was more than him focusing on 1.
Mm-hmm.
He was at a better place to just focus on 1 thing.
Mm-hmm.
And because lack of commitment, it shows me also that he didn't believe in himself.
Right.
Because when you believe in yourself, it's easier for you to commit and work your commitment. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He could have done so much more with that 1. Oh my God. He
Yeah.
could have done so much more. Minister Philip, I have my foster brother, Roderick Biles. Roderick Biles at one point was in about 9 or 10 business. And none of them could get off the ground. None could get off the ground. He is dealer for that tractor, that generator. He's doing mechanic. He's driving race car. He's building engine. He's doing all kind of things. Bringing in parts, selling, doing all kind of things. And nothing was working for him. Nothing was working for him. Roderick have more gray than his age. Nothing was working for Roderick. And Roderick went to God in prayer. And God told him that, Roderick, you have the ability that if you focus on 1 area, you will see where success lies. And Roderick take that 1 word from God. I'm telling you a true story. And Roderick put down all the other stuff and focus on building turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Building turbo. Now, Roderick owns Jamaica Turbo. Roderick has machine to clean and diagnose problems in turbo that nobody else in the Caribbean has.
Wow.
And that business took Roderick to a platform where he can stabilize his family, provide for his family, save saving, and still continue in business.
Wow. Yes.
He's zooming in an area that he believes in himself and he commit to it. He don't look at what the other thing was bringing him. He don't look at what people going to talk about the other thing. He took that 1 word from God and he stick with Jamaica Turbo. Now, if you Google Jamaica Turbo, it's unbelievable. The things that Roderick, people send engine to him from all over. People send turbo to him from all over. I mean, there are times I'm in Jamaica and I have to just park and ride with him to pick up a vehicle and drop it and all of them things there. All over the 14 parish of Jamaica, outside of Jamaica, he's gaining business. It's not everybody have the ability to multitask.
Right.
A pastor asked me last week, I saw you at the restaurant Saturday night, but you're preaching Sunday morning. And when you come to preach, you don't preach like you're tired. You don't preach pop down. You don't preach like, why I'm at the restaurant doing what I'm doing. I'm preaching in my head. I'm meditating in my brain. It's not everybody have the ability to multitask like that. And people who have the ability to multitask like that, all they need is some supporters that will support them as they multitask. And you're surprised to see where you hit. I mean, Jamaica Turbo is a household name right now amongst the truck drivers, amongst the racers, amongst everything. Jamaica Turbo, because he's zooming his energy on one thing. I see Daddy Alan saying something there. I don't know if you want to read it, Minister Philip.
He said, and then Minister Gordon has a question too. He said, look on business today, make a commitment to their customers. This iPhone they give you guaranteed that the goods you bought for us, if you have any problems with it, we guarantee to fix it or replace the goods. So he's making a statement based on a business. They offer something and it's guaranteed that if anything is wrong, that you go back to them, because that's a commitment they've made towards their customer. Minister Gordon said, some people say they are committed until they get what they want. They don't care anymore. When someone is no longer committed on the job, after given chances, without changes, they will be fired, right? Yep. This is a question. What do you do when only one party is committed to a relationship and the other person just don't care?
The answer is right in everything that she just says. It just shows that one party.
They'll get fired?
Not really. It just shows that one party is committed. The other party that is not committed is going to lose out. It's going to lose out one way or the other. They are going to lose out. But I would encourage the party that stick to their commitment. Don't change from sticking to your commitment, right? That doesn't say that.
As she said, if they don't care, because you can't make somebody do what they don't want to do.
No, you can't make somebody do what they don't want to do. But
what should a person do?
The thing is that as long as it's not you breaking your commitment, even if there's a split, it must not be said that because of you lack commitment, why there's a split. The truth is, if two persons don't commit and work commitment, nothing can work. Unrealistic expectation.
Absolutely, yes.
That's why the text says two can't walk unless them agree. Right?
Right.
So if there's not an agreement, there won't be commitment. And one party cannot say, though you disagree, I'm committed. It's just not going to work. So the answer to that question, once one don't want to change, once one don't want to come into covenant with commitment, they're going to lose out. It's not going to work. They're just going to make themselves miserable. They're just going to make themselves be a laughing stock. They're just going to make the blessing of the Lord store up one place where they can't reach it, and their life just turn into serious turmoil. And then they go their separate ways, pointing finger at each other. They'll make a mess of their family. They'll make a mess of their ministry. They'll make a mess of their life to the community and to the public at large. So where there is lack of commitment, that's why Jesus says that if you're right and offend, you cut it off. If you're right and not committed to work for you, cut it off. You see what I'm saying? Now, Jesus can give those encouragement and tell you what to do in those instances. Who am I or you to try force somebody to commit to something they don't want to commit to?
Right.
That is why in the work world, they give you a contract. Right. They don't just say a sign and then you read after. You read it first to see if there's anything that you see you cannot commit to. And if you cannot commit to, don't sign the contract. Because if you sign the contract and break the commitment, you can be dragged before the court. You can be sued. You can spoil
every consequence. Yes. The consequence is heavy. The consequence you would not be able to bear, because the thing about not being committed, a lot of times commitment has other people attached to it.
Correct.
It is not only about you being committed, it's about you being committed and somebody else is waiting on you being committed to something. Children is waiting on your commitment. A wife is waiting on your commitment. Your job is waiting on you. You're the manager of a business and or a bank, and they're expecting you to open the bank or be in there at 6:30 in the morning so you could open up at 7. You have a long line waiting and you just rushing through to open up the bank at 7. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
That might cost you your job. That might cost other people that is waiting to come into the bank to do their business. They're going to end up being late for work or whatever it is. So commitment is always attached to a main thing. So when you make a commitment and other people is part of that commitment and you drop the ball, you're not only dropping the ball on you, you're dropping the ball on everybody else is linked to you.
Yeah, you're right. And that is why it is sad to see that one would commit to a job and then go in and make the boss look unfair. Go in and they commit to go to work at 8:30, and all of a sudden they don't want to go 8:30, they want to go in when they feel like.
Mm-hmm.
They're committed to work until 3, and they don't want to work until 3. They get up and leave 1 o'clock. They get up and leave 2 o'clock.
Right.
And expect to be promoted, expect to be given all the perks that come with the job. If you don't stick out your commitment, you're not going to be promoted. They must be able to look and say this one thing: they're never late to open up.
Mm-hmm.
They never leave work before time. They never given an hour lunch and take 2 hours. It's your commitment that sets the presidency for your achievement in what you commit to.
Right.
Yeah. So persons who shall change themselves by dropping the ball, whether it be somebody encourage you to drop the ball, whether it be you just want to be like somebody else and drop the ball, you're dropping the ball in a lot of things. You're dropping the ball in your family. You're dropping the ball on your success. You're dropping the ball on your happiness. You're dropping the ball on your gain, your blessings. You're dropping the ball in full circle. And don't fool yourself. You cannot achieve anything if you don't commit to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why Psalm 15 said, to your own earth, or when it hurts you. I promise I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. They spit on Jesus. He stick to his commitment. They pierce his side. He stick to his commitment. He could have got 1,000 angels, as he says, but he stick to his commitment. They spit in his face. He stick to his commitment. They put a plate of tongue and push it down his head. They stick to his commitment. We don't want to stick to nothing. As long as we attach to somebody and they do something that we don't like, we write them off and put them in a corner. And we don't want to ever see working with them again. We don't want to work on nothing with peace with them again. We would rather disrupt our whole life and not recognizing that we're not being true to our commitment. Because their commitment will be tested.
Definitely. And
I promise you that I'm going to be friends with you. It's going to be tested.
Yeah.
I promise you that I'm going to accept you as my friend. It's going to be tested. I promise you that I'm going to have your back and look out for you. It's going to be tested.
Mm-hmm.
Once commitment is made, it is going to be tested.
You cannot be committed and be selfish at the same time.
It don't work.
You have to be selfless. I know there's another ministry that have a prayer ministry, and they wanted volunteers to do 3 a.m. prayer during the week. And I volunteered to do a 3 a.m. prayer on a Tuesday morning. And I get up every Tuesday morning by the grace of God because I made a commitment. You should not open your mouth, like Jesus said in Luke 14, and not count the costs and make promises to people that you know you're not going to follow through. Right. It's not only going to hurt you, but it's going to hurt other persons that is linked. So if you cannot do it, say, I can't do it. It's not, nobody's going to hurt you about it, but don't say I'm going to do it just to save face because you want to look important. You want to look like, I got that going on, and I can, follow through. And then you start, and half the way you stumble on the way because you did not think it through thoroughly. What is it going to cost me to commit to X and X? When the going get tough, because like you said, Pastor George, the going is going to get tough. Am I able to stick it through? How committed is my commitment?
Perfectly well. It is like at our church. The church needs cleaning up. I have a young business. I have a jerk center that just opened. And we do jerk from Thursdays to Saturday. Now, we pledge 5 weeks, 5 Saturdays, a cleanup. I have my jerk to go and do. But because I made my commitment, for the last 3 Saturdays, I get up, go open the restaurant, and go over by church. Work until in the afternoon. Then I go light that grill and start doing jerk. One would say you miss a lot of sales, but I give my commitment. So I cannot make the idea of making the sales cause me to break my commitment because I'm not going to be true to my word. So another time persons will not trust me based on what I'm saying. So I choose that because I make a commitment, it called for a level of sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So the level of sacrifice is on a Saturday, instead of start jerk 9:30, 10, I'm going to second with start jerking between 12:1. Just not to break my commitment to the church on a Saturday from 6 until 12:31. Yeah? So saints and brethren, those of you out there, you need to check your commitment status. You need to check it.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be committed to a task, as Minister Phillips says, and be selfish. It not gonna put you nowhere. It not gonna put you away. You must finish and finish strong, finish beautiful, finish lovely. Whatever you're doing, put your 100 in it.
Yeah, I think why persons probably drop the ball is that they have not counted the cost. Sometimes people could get so zealous or so excited about something, say, oh, I'll do it, because they want people to think that they're that committed, but they have not thought it through. And you raise your hand and you say you're going to do something and you didn't show up. That looked bad on your part. The reason for that is because you did not count the cost. You did not come to see, okay, what commitment, what do I need to do? What is it going to take me? Do I have to leave home early, get up early in the morning, whatever it is that it's going to cost me? And when the obstacles come and the whatever it is come my way, I'm able, because I know I've already counted the cost. I know that my mind is made up. I'm not stretched to the limit. That when these opposition comes, that I'm able to follow through with my commitment.
Yeah, you're right. And I see Minister Gardner, and Daddy Allen is saying something here. She said, God will bless you for honoring your commitment. It worked for you. It worked for you. It worked for you. And there's a blessing lies in honoring your commitment. Yeah? That is how you get to your platinum stage of anniversary, because you stick out your commitment. That is why you can tell your grandchildren that marriage work. It is lovely. It's one of the best life to live. That is why you can survive, because you survive the test of your commitment. That is why you can talk about the glorious days. They have some people talk about them celebrating 50 years and all they're happy and they're glad and then all of that. They're married for 50 years, but the celebration at that point is not for the 50 years. It's because they've been through it, come through it, and understand how to work it. Because they go through hell bareheaded and barefoot.
They mastered it.
The minute they make the commitment. But you have to stick it out and be patient with it. And you're surprised to see it work for you.
And some persons sometimes want to lose weight, but they're not committed to following through. They will start excited about losing weight, but the days could get long and dreary. The routine could get, fatigued. And so if you're not committed again, and you haven't counted the costs, you're not going to follow through, because that weight is not going to drop off of you in 2 days when you have had it for 20 years. So it takes a level of commitment for you to say, you know what, I'm good. And sometimes it just needs to take baby steps. Just take baby steps. Because sometimes some people have too many irons in the fire. And one iron going to drop. And if it's hot, it's going to burn somebody. Somebody's going to get hurt. So one has to count the cost. Minister Garden said, all that is true. God will bless your business because you sacrifice making $1 to go and clean the church.
Reality. It's society, and it's more a demonic attack than just a society thing. And some people don't know it. The devil will do anything to disrupt your success because he knows your success called for commitment.
Yeah.
So he will do any and everything to disrupt that commitment. And we are committed to this. What we're doing right now is commitment.
Absolutely, yes.
It's not every week we're going to come with a fiery topic where everybody jump up and tumble down. We still stay committed.
We committed to following the Holy Spirit as to what he wants us to say.
Correct.
No, it's
the truth. So therefore we don't come and just talk about something because we want to get million views and all of it. We are rebuilding life and we are redeeming soul. So therefore we stay true to the commitment. This week we have a fiery topic. Next week we have a topic that's not deemed fiery. And the other week we have another lukewarm topic or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is that you cannot say on a Thursday night, you click on your phone and you don't see us. You cannot say on a morning for Jumpstart, you click on your phone and don't see us. You can't say Monday to Friday, 9:30, you click on your phone and don't see Rebuilding Life. You cannot say we are committed. Do we want to stop? Sometimes capital, yes. Do we think like it always capital? No. Do we think that, you know what? We don't do nothing this morning. We don't know what to talk about. I know that doesn't make no sense. Capital, yes. We've been through all that, where that shut and burn that, and we still turn up because we are committed.
Yeah. Persons have asked me, said, I don't know how you can do this every day. Now, everybody can't do this because you said earlier that it takes a level of grace. You can't just get up and say, I'm going to do Facebook Live every day. You do it every day. I do it Monday through Friday, and then I have with you on Sunday morning. But the fact of it is that it takes a level of grace, because grace is going to allow you to go further than any normal person would. And so people will see you and say, you know what, I want to do what Pastor George is doing. He's always, but you can't do that, because you're going to fall through the crack. You need to know that whatever it is that you're doing, that God is the one that gave you that assignment, and you're committed with the one thing that he said that you can do. He said, if I could trust you with one thing, guess what? I will make you ruler over many. That is commitment.
That is why I think whoever come up with the wedding vows understand something, that if we stick to the commitment, we're going to reap some benefit.
Yeah.
Minister Garden says, do I feel tired sometimes? Yes. Sleeping in tomorrow. She too committed. All in her dream, she go at the jump start. All in her dream, you're going here. She said, good morning. This is yours truly, Minister Garden with Jumpstart. All in her dream, because she's committed. I've seen her left work double shift through the night, leave work morning, and just rush home, change her head, and come back and Jumpstart.
Yeah, commitment.
Call.
Because she have made up her mind that I'm committed. She's come to
she have her own turbulence going on.
Yes.
But she's still committed.
She's committed, yeah, because her mind is made up to commit. Whether I'm tired, I'm dragging, however I get there, because I'm committed. And God honors commitment. There's a blessing for people that are committed. And he took the one that took his talent and was not committed to expanding it, and he took it and he gave it to the one with 5.
Yeah.
You know, how awesome is that? Because the one with 5 took it and decided, you know what, I'm going to be committed to invest what the master has given to me. And I'm grateful. I don't take whatever it is he gives me for granted, you know. So I have a couple of things here. Good night, Karen. I have a couple of things here that says steps of committing to commitment. Number 1, practice being decisive.
Yep.
Commit to one thing at a time. Don't stretch yourself too thin. 2, be accountable. Oh my gosh. If you commit to do something, call persons and say, you know what, I can't make it. Don't let that person, they're sitting and waiting on you and you didn't show up. You've got to be accountable. Yep. 3, develop an insatiable hunger. If you commit to something, teachers are committed to teaching. They have to sign a contract. They go every day, whether they like the students or not. Whatever it takes for them to do, they have to do it. 4, hold yourself accountable. If you've committed to do something, hold yourself accountable. You can't just say, well, I don't feel like doing it today. No, you made a commitment. You made a commitment and you've got to follow through. And like I said earlier, remember, other persons are depending on the commitment that you've made.
It just had to see that we would settle for less when it comes to our job, when it comes to our family, when it comes to ourselves, because we refuse to commit. Yeah, it's sad to see many persons suffering because they refuse to commit. One would rather lose their job because they don't want to commit. One would rather lose their family because they don't want to commit. One would rather lose their motor vehicle because they don't want to commit. One would rather take the world is against them because they don't want to commit. It's time for us to put commitment to the forefront of our life. Amen. I know whatever we put our hands to, we're going to stick it through.
Yeah.
For richer, for poorer. for better, for worse, sickness or in health. It's a serious thing. And I know if the viewers watch in their life right now, they'll recognize that they shortchange themselves. Because what they walk away from and says God don't want them walk, or is God want them to walk away from it, it's not God. It's the lack of commitment.
Lack of commitment, yeah. That's the truth.
Lack of commitment. It can stifle your growth. It can cause you to live in poverty, hand to mouth. It can cause it to be a disgrace. It can cause you to walk with your head hung down. Why? Because you refuse to commit to what it is going to take you to the next level. It calls for a commitment, and if you don't commit, you cannot reach the next level. Minister Garden says something here. Many people are walking out of their God-given purpose because of the lack of commitment, the lack of commitment.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. God give you something. I mean, if Minister Garden didn't stick this out, there would be no CC. That's a talent she never thought she probably had. Yeah? And CC can be developed into something huge, because everybody out there look forward to CC.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's imprint in the mind of those. Up to the other day, I was showing somebody, and they were laughing, turning over. I said, boy, that woman, this our serious actor Hollywood want her.
It's true.
Yeah. But because we stay true and committed.
That's what the reward of commitment will give you. God allowed things to come out of you that you didn't even know was there. When you're committed, you know, because he is the rewarder. He's the one that rewards us. Sometimes people overlook our commitment. You don't get a trophy for being committed. You don't get a pat on the shoulder for being committed. You cannot be looking for a reward from men. If that's what you're doing, you're not going to follow through with your commitment. You've got to know whatever commitment you have made, you make it unto God. And he in turn will cause he in turn will cause you to be blessed. He give you stuff that you didn't even know. What does scripture say? Above all that you could ever ask or think. In your wildest dream, like she was saying to me, she said, you know, some of the questions just keep coming to the jokes, and it was so spontaneous that when we had that dialogue, it looked like we didn't practice anything. She just came on set and just started, and I went along with what dialogue it was. So that's what commitment will do. God can entrust you with more. You on mute.
Thank you. It's a proven fact. If you should ask the businessmen and women that are successful today, they would tell you commitment is their ingredients. Yeah. If you're not committed to something, you will not achieve anything. And Minister Garden strike again. I work with Minister Garden and not CC. She said, how come you didn't tell me that you have a princess daughter named CC? Yeah.
Well, I think she's talking to her dad.
Pardon? Yeah, I think she's talking to her dad. But I want to encourage our viewers tonight.
Yes.
Whatever walks of life you're attached to, it calls for true commitment. And I put in the word true there because I want you to understand false commitment will not work. Pretense commitment will not work. You know, you're on the hotel, you alone as a security guard, and you're committed to your post. And because it's you alone, you just go and sit down and play a game by your phone or watch TV or go and sleep, right? And then you know what? The hotel is robbed. You were never there. You're not truly committed.
Mm.
You're not truly committed. When we truly committed, we work together. If I have to get up early to be with you, to set out the children to school and to do everything, then get to work, I'm committed to make it work. We're going to make it work. A lot of your problem is lack of commitment. And if it is demonized, it's a curse that must be broken, because you'll never see past hand to mouth. You'll never mount to anything. You'll start pay for a lot of things and can't inherit it because it just stuck, gone dormant. It's when you see it like that, it's demonic.
Mm-hmm.
Very demonic. So I want to say to you tonight, a very straightforward topic that don't need much explanation, but we still take the time to say to you, if it's to your family, it calls for true commitment. If it is to your spouse, it calls for true commitment. If it is to your children, it calls for true commitment. Yeah. If it is to your community, it calls for true commitment. If it's to God, it calls for true commitment. Without true commitment, you cannot live a fulfilled life.
Yep.
Because they all work together.
That is the truth. The
nurses
all
work together.
Need to be committed to their job. The doctors need to be committed. You trust in him to look over your loved ones when you drop your loved one to the hospital. You trust their commitment to what the craft that they're involved in, you know. And so the world it cannot flourish without committed people. We cannot function without it. In no way.
It is so true. And that is why next week we are going to be discussing a topic. I just going to run it by management tonight. And then with her permission, we are going to have the discussion. But there's a necessity. There's an important column that we need to talk about in Christianity. I was asked the question the other day about Christians enhancing their beauty with all of the kind of stuff. I was asked that question the other day, and I said to somebody, well, if my wife here is like a kaya, I rip up the sheet, and when it touch my skin, it bruise me up. I have no problem to go to the hairdresser and put in weave. I don't. If our eyelash them drop out and instead I should look like them yellow people without eyelash, I have no problem to go somewhere and put it on properly. So we are going to be discussing a lot down that line next week. You don't want to miss it. I just have to follow protocol. I don't want to be fired. We're going to discuss this topic, my management and I. And then once we discuss it, we're going to put it out there with the flyer and everything, and we'll discuss it. And I want to thank those of you for being commitment. We're talking about commitment, you know. And you might say you're not committed, but you are committed. That's why you're here every Thursday night.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why you're on Jumpstart every morning. That's commitment.
That is commitment.
That is why you're with Minister Mary Philip every 9:30. That's commitment.
Oh, yeah.
That's commitment. And commitment will always pay off good dividends.
Yep.
To survive this world and to make a change in this world, to impact this world, we have to be true to our commitment. And if we can't be true to our commitment, we're flop. Any final words, Minister Philip?
Yes, I hope what we have said tonight, it might sound simple to you, but we have learned how important commitment is to our families, to our jobs, to society, to our community, most of all to the Lord. When we commit our lives to him, God knows that we're not perfect people. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall off. In Psalms 103 said, he remembers that we are human. We are dust. His loving kindness is better than life. He will show love and kindness to places where we are weak. But the fact is that we need to be committed to him, whether we're doing things the way we should be doing or not, and that we can go to him. And God is committed. Look at how committed he is to us, that he said, come boldly before my throne. He said, come to me. You could call him any day, anytime, any night. He is never not there. You could call him in the midnight hours. You could call him early in the morning. You could call him in the middle of the day, whenever it is you need him. What if God was not committed? Where would we be today? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. And so if you have made commitments that you're not following through, you need to go back and reassess and find out what you need to do to fulfill that commitment that you have made with that individual. Do your part, like we said earlier. Do your part. You're not responsible for what others did not do, but God is holding you responsible for what you have committed yourself to do. So I hope we helped you tonight in some way. I hope you have a takeaway tonight. There's something that you've heard that have triggered something and say, you know what? I need to change. I need to be a little bit more committed to what I said I'm going to be committed to.
It's profound, Minister Phillips, and thank you. And normally I have learned over the years, when you have discussion like this, on topic like this, it may feel like you don't reach nobody. That's when you reach people the most.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people problem that they're having today is because of broken promises, broken commitments, right? So we want to encourage you tonight to revisit your life, look back into things, and find out if it's lack of commitment that destroyed, or you have unrealistic expectation. Yeah? We trust that tonight's topic would cause you to look within yourself and decide to go back and fix some things. It's your life. Thank God for your parents. Thank God for everybody. But blessed is the child that have his own. That child have to be committed.
Yes.
To get its own. Yeah? So find out where your commitment lies and if it's benefiting you. And if it's not, I would encourage you. Make your commitment where it's needed, and you will see a great change in your life.
Amen.
What business you start and stop, and using finance as an excuse, is lack of commitment.
Yes.
Because if you stick it out, today you make $1, tomorrow you make 2, next day you make 3, next day you make 4, it will grow as long as you stay true and committed. I want to thank you, Minister Philip, for joining us tonight. I want to thank all our listeners and viewers for joining us. And the time soon come when Thursday night at Topic Live, everybody that participates, we will be having an audience. We'll be having a Zoom audience. Trust me, I'm working on it. Me and the team, we're working on some stuff. And for next year, you're going to see where far we're taking these things. And we're looking forward to have you on set as our audience as we discuss some great topic. Whatever you do tonight, do it with a true heart of commitment, and it will work wonders for you. Join me tomorrow morning, Jumpstart, 9:30, Minister Mary Phillips. Remember.
Yes.
Pardon?
I have a special guest, Horella Goodwin. She is from Islands. Most people know her. She is a songwriter, she producer.
Wow.
/ So don't miss it. 9:30.
So that will be intriguing.
Yes.
Don't miss it. 9:30, Minister Mary Philip and her special guest. And we look forward to next week, Thursday night. Once management pass the topic, I'm going to give you the topic in Jumpstart, and we are going to rock the boat. God bless you. Have a wonderful night Until then, share this video not for popularity statistic, but that others may know and be blessed. One love.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.